In this video here, I'm going to take you through the 6 sections of the LongVol report from the longvol.com. This is our flagship product. What we're going to do is show you how to get the most out of this service if you're a potential customer, somebody browsing by, or even a current subscriber of the report. The goal is to show you how to keep up to date using this report, how to take the data and information within it, and use it efficiently for your own personal investing or trading. This is our flagship product. It was released in 2020. It's published via PDF 48 times a year. It covers cross-asset, which you'll see as we go through this. It is a unique source of financial information designed to help both investors and traders make more informed decisions that are unique to their portfolios. What that means in short is whether you're actively trading short-term, looking for longer-term ideas, or special situations color for long-short investment ideas, there's something for everybody just depending on what it is you're looking for. The report also includes data, 4 stock monitors, which we're going to walk through, weekly market commentary and color on select ideas. In addition to that, it includes a portfolio/swing trade alert element that utilizes the report, our proprietary market timing, and trade structuring to deliver our subscribers a deep in the money call or put trade idea. We send those out 2 to 5 times a month. At the end of this video, if you have any questions, instead of commenting on the video, it makes it easier for us to reply. Please go to the longvol.com, use the contact form to ask questions about the product. There is a free 21-day trial to get access to this. With that being said, let's get into the heart of the video and show you the report. Times a year in PDF format. I'm going to give you a quick background. To access the report, you can go to the members area on Sundays. The past 10 issues are here. To download, you simply click download and you can download the past 10 issues. There are also tutorials as well. If you elect the premium version, you can also access this report without logging into the website in the LongVol community chat room. So the subtitle of the report, as you can see on your screen, is the report without all of the noise. So in short, back in 2014, when I originally, again, it wasn't called the LongVol then, when I was aggregating data, when I was a portfolio manager, I was using Excel. And it was an easy way to effectively remove all of the noise, all the newsletters, research, things I wanted to pay attention to, material changes. And instead of forgetting it or having it lost on my desk, I was using an Excel spreadsheet. In 2020, this converted because I was giving this out to people that were friends in the business, people that had followed me, and it eventually turned into what you see now as our flagship product called the LongVol Report, which is published in this PDF format. So if you are somebody who appreciates efficiency and doesn't like to waste time in the research process, this may help you, and we'll walk you through the value add, and you can obviously be judge and jury as you go through this. So there are 4 stock monitors. If you're not familiar with that term, it can also be described as a screener. The first monitor is momentum. So this is for day trading all the way up to 7-day holds. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not for analyzing balance sheets or companies. It's a purely momentum-driven approach to the market. We use an in-house proprietary technical overlay, and we also discuss the order flow dynamics around these particular stocks in this particular section. And we are going to go through examples of using it to give you some insights to show you, again, if you're trading short-term or maybe you're not trading short-term, how you can use this monitor effectively. The second one is the swing monitor. So again, this term is subjective. People have different definitions of the word swing. We'll give you our definition here. It's 7 days to 90 days. In fact, some ideas like Rivian in the first quarter, we just cashed out of in June. It was about 5 months. So again, some of these ideas that are presented here are flagged, might take a little bit longer. So this section is more in depth. There is actual research of companies. The research that we use is a combination. It might be fundamentals, it might be macro tailwinds, technicals, and sometimes it might be all 3 at once. It just depends. Okay, so with this particular section, the way that we're able to dwindle down the ideas, so it's not 300 stocks, because obviously there's a whole world out there of stocks, is we look at sectors and ideas that we think might be inflecting, aka moving relatively soon. So what we don't want in this section is a stock that might be fundamentally, undervalued, but it's not going to move for 6 or 9 months. We're only going to track or flag this for our readers if we think there's going to be some type of entry or trigger into that idea within 30 to 60 days at max. So we do this by drilling into the names using our technical overlay. So if you are somebody who uses a passive or wants to use a passive approach, there's an article on the website you can also use to educate yourself. We'll click on this here and go back to this. That walks you through trades versus investments. Effectively, it's just going to explain to you how we look at trades versus investments, aka swing ideas, to kind of give you an overview to how to size the position and what the mentality is when you go into some of these ideas. Because this particular section is not designed for swing traders or people coming in, buying it and selling it in 3 hours or 2 or 3 days. And I'll show you some examples. One of them was Rivian. In the next one here, let's go through this. So finally, just because a name, and we'll walk through this, gets put in this section does not mean that any of these are long or shorts. The entire point of this particular monitor is to flag something for you that you may have missed or may have not even considered in the first place. So we'll show you how to take the names in this section from the research you're going to get as a reader and then potentially develop it into an actual executable investment idea. So the third monitor is something called, it's a fun name. If it's interesting, I'll give you the backstory. It's called the Boing Boing monitor. Again, funny name. We also kind of coined this term, this monitor, Left for Dead. I'll give you the quick backstory here. There was a pretty well-known, if you're not familiar with investor and money manager named Courtney Smith, who I worked with over 15 years ago in my career, really when I was just coming in the business. Not that I worked for him. I was helping him some of his seminars when I lived in LA, learning from him. I kind of just randomly cold called and emailed them to learn from him. And this was his kind of concept for scanning for stocks. We use this for stocks that are typically forgotten. Okay, so again, these aren't stocks that are sub $2 or $3. Typically, they're large caps, sometimes mid caps, but typically they're large cap companies that have been oversold. They're out of favor, and sometimes they don't necessarily need to be fundamentally good companies. Meaning, they might be losing money. The balance sheet might be having some issues. Their product line might have some issues, but they might be suppressed. And we use a certain approach to structuring ideas using a 90-day at-the-money call option to express the long view on these particular names. Okay, so we'll walk through this as well, but that's one of the monitors there. The final monitor is the Special Situations monitor for those that are familiar with this. This particular section is a little bit more advanced. We cover some special situations ideas, nothing in the traditional sense of, let's say, warrant coverage or, convertibles or anything like that. More kind of things where, let's say, for example, we'll walk through a certain situation where the Japanese yen was potentially going to have some intervention from the Japanese central bank, and there might be a short-term idea that's, again, driven by that in the FXY or the yen currency. Okay, so these are different ideas. Sometimes they're exotic to kind of look at, but this is really for more of the reader who has a larger portfolio, more experience in the markets, but this kind of gives you something else just to look at to kind of track. There can also be spinoffs in companies as well. But again, we'll go through this section as you go through this. So you'll continue to go through this. There's 3 other links to kind of help you to expand on our views of the markets, something called asymmetry, bankroll management, and trades versus investments, which I just showed you through there. The second section is a table of contents. You can click anywhere here to take you to a particular section. So for example, the second section is the week ahead. Every week, the report starts with my general notes for the market. And I talk about different things in the report that are sticking out for this particular week. So let's go and take a look and see what this report was titled. And to give you context, this was June 16, 2024. And we'll kind of bring down what was going on with the markets in. Okay. So the momentum monitor last week was lighting up. If you're not learning to trade them as such, then working on that over the summer is something to do. If you want access to FOPT, it's a lecture series. It's a good way to learn to trade the short-term names. So there was a name we were tracking on PayPal. We did get into it. It took a loss, and we kind of update you on that. We talk about some economic data as well. And then we go through a quick kind of overview S&P as well. So typically what this report will do is also provide some color to the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, because some investors are looking at that for market timing and they're cross-analyzing what the S&P may do, and they may take that information and trade with it, or they may take the information from the S&P note color here and use it with the momentum monitor. Okay. The other thing here as well is we talked about names that are important for that particular week or that have caught my eye to kind of give you color on the order flow for that particular week. Okay, so there is a section here we talk about as well. Again, this is kind of giving you notes here, momentum monitor. SMCI in particular has my interest again this week because the setup, watch the video for more. It should have a big range this week, so I want to trade that. So effectively what I do is I go through the report. I have an analyst that works with me on this, and I'll come back and see out of all of the names in each section, which ones for me personally grab my attention. And when those grab my attention, I just come in here and write to them on literally my views. And readers typically like that because they can kind of see what I'm looking at if they just want to read this in 5 or 10 minutes on Sunday and be done with it. Okay. And then there are certain things as well. I'll give you kind of one-off commentary on Tesla. This was a note from the Swing Monitor that week. We were tracking Papa John's, made it into our weekly article of the week. And I was kind of talking about what I was looking at and kind of why I'm paying attention to it, just kind of making you aware. Okay. Then there was an update to the special situations. We were watching XHB and ETF, and I was explaining a few things there on that particular name. Okay. So every week, the weekly outlook obviously changes based on the time of the year, et cetera, et cetera. So for example, this is the first or third quarter 2024, kind of give you a rerun of last week and kind of what we're looking for in particular this week. Okay. Not every week does this section have notes on every section. So one section might be alive with ideas that week, and one week or 1 month, that section might be dead with ideas. It just depends week by week. The whole point of the report is to be versatile across the asset classes and strategies so that there's always idea generation available. Whether you're swing trading, short-term trading, it shouldn't make a difference. Okay, so that's that section. The third section we're going to get into is the report cliff notes. So the report cliff notes is really designed for those of you that want to come into this report, spend 5 minutes and be done. So you don't want to sit there and go through every single thing and do your own research. Basically, it just says, look, if you want to save time, read this section. This is what I deem to be important for myself in the report. These are things I think you should pay attention to. So for example, this was the end of the second quarter, excuse me. Amazon is technically trapped. If news comes out and gaps higher, we're going to run with it to 200. This did run to 200 that particular week. So typically, again, I'm going through each section and telling you, okay, so for example, there's sometimes a lot of names in here. If we remove a name, we'll let you know. If we're adding a name, we'll let you know, which makes it easy for you and somebody who's just, again, trying to get through it quickly, to not have to spend too much time. You can just effectively come in here, see what's important to you or what might be important to you, and kind of be on with your day. So that's the easiest way, I think, to use this as you get through this. Now, I can't click this because it's not allowing me to for whatever reason. There we go. Okay, so this will show you that there. It'll show you any updates there you can go to. And again, if you click any one of these sections here, it'll take you right to it. So for example, let's just click to the momentum monitor. It'll take you right down to this section. Okay. So the momentum monitor is, if you want to dig into this, let's break this down step by step. Each section has, and we're going to pull this up here, notes on how to use it. Okay, so it explains to you what this section is, so you have an idea on how to use this, no fundamentals, etc. So this section here has the ticker symbol, the trend flow for the next 1 to 7 days, where we think the order flow is headed. The setup rank, key levels, commentary on that particular name. So for example, coming into this week, NVIDIA wasn't necessarily the best setup based on our analysis. Meta was, Microsoft was, Tesla really wasn't. So some of the ways that members tend to use this is if they're coming through this and they're saying, hey, look, I don't want to have to go and analyze every one of single of these names. Which ones are they paying attention to this week? They could come in straight to Meta, Microsoft, maybe Netflix and Google and say, okay, look, they like these ones for whatever reason. Let me see what they're saying on the notes. Then take the information, go to my charts and my analysis, start to mark up things, create alerts, and kind of put together a plan based on our notes. Now, again, other members want to go step by step and see if this matches up to what they're looking at. But again, this is individual to each person as they go through the report, which is what makes this unique to each individual reader. Okay, so that's that particular section there. These change every single week. The color coding typically is showing you, again, these are ideas that are worth paying attention to, that I personally like. So if they're color coded, even more so, I'm really paying attention to them, which means you should probably, give it a little more time on your own research. Okay, so that's this particular section. For the most part, this list is pretty static. Every once in a while, quarterly, and we might add a name or reduce a name, but typically these names are pretty static for the most part to trade short term. So the second section is the swing monitor. Again, this is more designed for 7 to 90-day holds. This is how we define swing trades. These are typically fundamentally driven ideas, sometimes macro, and they're always have technical insights. So, one of the persons that helps me with this particular reports that puts them together will find a lot of the fundamental ideas. Once they find the fundamentals, I read them, go through them, see if I agree, disagree. And if I do agree, I run over a technical approach that I've used for over 13, 14 years of my career. If the technicals show me that this might have a potential move in the next 30 to 60 days, and it's worth going into the report, it makes it into the report, okay? Because there are plenty of ideas that are fundamentally there, but the price action just doesn't align where it's going to trigger something in the next 60 days. Now, again, we might track it off the report, and as it gets close to a technical trigger to, put into the report, it typically gets added in. All right, so let's move on to the color coding here to explain this. If this is with this green line here, it means this is an active swing trade alert. So one of the perks of the report as well is the additive swing trade alert. So typically there are 2 to 5 ideas sent monthly to subscribers. We take the swing monitor and we structure the ideas using a deep in the money call or put option, typically 30, 60, 90, sometimes longer, even leaps at certain times for the idea. So let's say, for example, again, you're somebody's subscribing to the report. You simply don't have the time. You want to read this in 5 or 6 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're going through this. You could come here and say, okay, look, for example, let's go to AAP. We're tracking this. This was added in May. It's nearing a buy point. There's a link to kind of give you some relevant articles, so some color on it, give you backstory and commentary. We're explaining to you what's going on with the particular name, why you should pay attention to it. And then we go to current action. So every week, obviously, the price action on that particular name is trading. So typically this section, current action, is constantly updating every single week. So if you can see here, key technical buy zone. So this week we might get an AST alert sent out on the 6250 is key, supporter 69, etc. Now, why is this relevant as a reader to the report? Let's say, for example, again, you're reading this in 10 minutes. You don't want to sit there and read through all of it. You could go and look for the whys. You could say, look, this is nearing potential buy zone. Let me see what they're saying. And you see AST alert might be issued. Okay, so you read this on Sunday. You get an alert on Thursday. You don't have to go back and say, okay, why am I buying this again? You kind of have some color ahead of time saying, okay, look, I already kind of know why they're looking at this. I can go back and recheck it. I can either pass on the alert or put it on myself. Okay, so that's one of the ways to be efficient with using this, is looking at the nearing the buy point. Okay, so every one of these sections has relevant articles, backstory, and this section pretty much every week updates based on if the stock is getting towards a buy zone or there's material price action change as well. Okay, so let's go through this again. There's another section here. Again, the swing section is typically bigger than any of them because we track a lot of relevant ideas. Okay, again, some of the color coding here, again, this is effectively just deeming this is more important. We like these for other reasons. Again, if they're color coded in this it means that there are live ideas that have already been published. Okay, so that's that section there. It continues to go on. And then we're going to move on to the Boing Boing monitor. Okay, so again, funny name, but this does work. I'll give you a quick background to this. Like I said, this was really just designed to take an approach where stocks are out of favor. Okay, some people like the approach, Warren Buffett style, cigarette butt kind of investing. Some of these stocks may not be quality on the balance sheet. Let's just be real clear in the video, but it doesn't mean that you can't take this idea and use our suggested structure. That structure is through a 90-day minimum option that is at the money or slightly out of the money. Okay, so typically what we're looking for are names that have a very, very weak or oversold relative strength reading on the weekly time frame. Okay, so we're looking for this and some other factors as well, and we kind of screen, because when we run a screen on this, just like the swing monitor, you could have 50 names, but not all 50 names might be worthy. So for example, if we find a stock that comes in here, for example, pizza, this made it into the report. We started to look at this. I said, this is interesting. Why is it so low? I started to kind of research it even more. And the following issue of this report, this actually got removed from this, and this got moved into the swing monitor because it actually might be an idea that is going to move from this structure to something that we might potentially hold if we get an entry trigger. Okay. So again, sometimes we'll give you what we're looking at for expiration. Sometimes we don't. It just depends on the situation, and we kind of give you commentary. Okay. So with this particular section, you do not want to be selling put spreads or buying the equity. The suggested approach is a 90-day option that is at the money or out of the money. What you are effectively looking for is a bounce or a repricing of that particular issue relatively quickly. Okay, so this is the approach we use in this monitor. Again, sometimes it's pretty active, sometimes it's kind of slow. It just depends. But this is a pretty popular monitor for a lot of readers for the past 3 years. All right, so the final section is special situations. Says we define special situations a little differently here. They can be spinoffs, buybacks worth noting, notable insider buying, special macro situation, one-off short selling. Effectively, we're just trying to get you to look at something and research, nothing more. These aren't really ideas. So typically, XHB we've been tracking for a while because, again, it's linked to interest rates. We want to watch this sector because, we think that, interest rates staying higher or for longer, or there might be cutting, might create an uptick or a downtick that's pretty dramatic in the home builder name. So we're going to track that until we feel it's not necessary. Now, obviously, Boeing made it into here because a lot of issues going around this. We want to track to see what becomes of this because the stock has been hit so violently. Is there opportunity to look at? Okay. FXY was something recently. We took the notes out because this was a trade, but it's still tracking where we were looking for intervention from the Japanese central bank. Now, sometimes there's SPACs as well. We'll start to track. It just depends on situation to situation. Okay. So that's the full entire report in its entirety. It's all available to you. Let's now go through some actual examples to show you, as promised, how an idea comes from the report to actually generating into something that's actionable to go through. Okay, so this is a report that's actually new to the current time of doing this. In fact, let's go to the top of the report here. This is June 30th, 2024. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some actual relevant stuff here and show you how it comes into play. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to this week, Momentum Monitor. So AMD could be a top tier short, good for 10% in a hurry. It's worth a look. SMCI is also notable. And again, as you come through this, you can say, okay, look, I want to come through this and just kind of pay attention to what's going on and maybe have a look at this as a potential scenario to pay attention to as I'm trading that particular day. Okay, so we were coming into this week. This is a Monday trading day. Again, we give some commentary as to why we thought this would see some sell-side order flow. Pretty much right off the open, it had sell-side order flow. And we'll kind of bring you back to the levels. Again, the levels, again, to give you context for those of you looking at this, aren't necessarily tight. You can see this is like a 7-point range on this, and that's the intention. This is not for, day trading 50 cents at a time. So if you're looking at this and your mind's wandering to, okay, well, I want a price level. That's not the intention. The intention is to provide a larger range to show you where price is probably going to move pretty dramatically. Okay. So 158 was a level all the way down to 140. And again, we're just kind of giving you sentiment as well in commentary. And again, we kind of tested some key levels here on this particular name there. Okay. The next one I want to go through is SMCI. I'll pull this up here. Again, we kind of flagged that pretty heavily in this particular report, basically noting a few things that if a few things to play out in this particular name, you want to pay attention to it. So again, if anything is relevant in the report, we'll kind of note it here in the cliff notes to say, look, you should pay attention to this extremely bearish. It should not go unnoticed. So it's to say, look, pay attention this week. It's worth your time. Off the open on this, I mean, pretty bearish on this. We expect this to continue to go lower as well. We make special notes. Again, we think this name is going to head dramatically lower, and we kind of explain to you why. Okay, so every one of these sections is different. It just depends, again, what you're looking for in your own personal investing. Okay, so this particular section, let me walk you through. So let's go through, let's say like PayPal, for example. Okay, so PayPal, again, we put a position on, it was stopped out. We're still tracking it in the monitor. If we go down to the swing trade monitor, we can kind of go down. Let's find PayPal here. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is that nearing a buy point, you want to scroll and say, okay, yeah, it is. We wrote an article on it. You can come here and read our article and say, okay, look, what did they have to say on this? It's a free article. Another article, we updated some price action. I think we see buyers step up there in force. So 55 to 58. Okay, so you get this, you're reading it, you may agree with the fundamentals, you may not agree with them, but you want to track this. How do you take that information? Okay, so one way to do it is to use the notes. Another way is to use your own analysis. Okay, so we think 56 to 58 is a relevant point for price action to start paying attention to in this particular name. Okay, so for us, if you don't want to come in and do your own analysis approach, again, we don't provide the charts to this. It's just too much to go through each one. But if you're reading the report, the easiest way is to say, look, this actually might become a swing trade alert. So we give you commentary. We'll start to analyze this. If something triggers where we believe that there's going to be a potential trade, this actually will come in and be structured as a deep in the money call option trade in the AST alerts portion as well. Okay, let's go through another example here. Let's go through TSM. Okay, so TSM was a pretty popular position that a lot of subscribers had in the second quarter of 2024. We actually wrote on it quite a bit. So much so became one of the best ideas in Q2. The stock was up about 30% from issuing the swing trade alert. But let's say you're reading this, need price to come in a bit to 150 to 160 area, then look to start accumulating longs. We may run into 190 for here, so good, but it's not a viable swing just yet. So it's not nearly a buy point. There's articles referencing it. And we want to go to the chart, and you can reference this. Now, again, members come from all walks of life and use their own analysis methods. Again, we don't provide the technical. We just kind of give notes. You're more than welcome to use your own approach to your technicals or how you want to structure the ideas, or you can just use the swing trade alert. Okay. So this particular name, this was something that we used in the first quarter, and we had sold this pretty well. We were pretty much out of this all the second quarter. So as we're tracking this now, as we head into the third quarter, this potentially might be an idea. So again, we understand the fundamentals of why we want to look at this. We understand the tailwinds that are pushing the sector higher. So at this particular point, literally all we're waiting for is a technical trigger to get us into the position. And so this is how an idea is tracked all the way into potential trade idea for members to get into. Okay, so again, this is a few examples of this. I can't go into some of the special situation stuff. It's too dynamic. But typically the swing and the short-term stuff looks just like that. Okay, so that is an overview of the LongVol report and the AST Alerts, again, you can get full access to this as a member for 21 days to see if this works for you. There are tutorials that you can also get as you log into it as a member that shows you how to use it as well. So I hope this was informative. If you're going to sign up, there's a full Q&A section on the checkout page, as well as some more information for you, some other testimonials from readers of the report. And as you get into this and go through it, you'll be able to see some people use it entirely differently. You'll be able to meet subscribers and talk to them how they use it to their benefit, and everybody's different. Okay, so again, when you come to this page, you will be able to download a free report. There's no credit card required. You can actually download one of the reports. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, head over to the longvol.com contact tab, and you can ask those questions there.